Oh, hi.
Hello.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Cup TV, part of the Currently Unnamed Podcast Network, where we put the real and the tea in reality. You can always come here first to quench your thirst. I am Brooke, and I am passionate about pop culture. And I am passionate about the fact that Challenge All Stars 5 is almost over. Yay. Why is this not the first episode of the final? Who knows?
And why do we have 2 more episodes after this?
That last episode better be a reunion. That is all I gotta say. It's not gonna, but it better be.
And hello, my name is Jack. I am the resident game designer of the panel, and yeah, don't disrespect anyone when you're around Adam because it's gonna end up just a bad time for you. I really don't know how else to say it. Like, this is a repeated pattern.
Yeah, it was an interesting moment alongside a bunch of less interesting moments of this episode. After we've been on a bit of a hot streak with Challenge All Stars these past few episodes, gotten some good stuff. Best elimination of the season last week. We're riding high. This week, not so much for me. I'll be honest. It was it felt like a bit of a formality. We kind of knew who was going to be in the bottom after the challenge win happened. We kind of figured who would probably win that elimination. So, especially last week when TJ's like, I'll see you for the next challenge tomorrow or whatever. Yeah, we knew one more team was going home, and then we're going to have 4 teams going into the final.
Yeah.
Which of the 4 teams would fall short? That is the question. It's the one you probably think. But before we get into that, make sure you hit that big red subscribe button. We are trying to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. We'd appreciate all of your support. You can also buy your merch, including but not limited to cup mug at laundrycreations.etsy.com. That link is in the description down below and scrolling past on the ticker. We do ship internationally and domestically, so there are no excuses. Except, if you're international right now, I don't blame you if you don't want to buy something from the US. Beside the point. Yeah. So, Challenge All Stars episode 10.
I mean, I basically said it last week. If Adam and Steve or Nani and Turbo do not win the challenge, we already know what's gonna happen. Like we're just gonna get to a point where it's just like, okay.
Well, Julie, you hit the nail on the head, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
we were coming into this, we kind of figured that there was a pretty good shot that, the only way this episode could have been interesting for me is if Adam and Steve won the elimination. That was just not the elimination, won the episode, won the challenge. Yes. That was pretty much it. We knew Nani and Turbo were going to find a way to go in. We knew that for the most part, Melissa and Nicole were probably going to the final. Shane and Devon are probably going to the final. And the only real way Frank and Sam would go in is if Adam and Steve won. At least that was what it seemed the most likely to me going into this episode. But the way we got there, yeah, fine, I suppose.
Yeah. I mean, a perfectly fine episode. I mean, honestly, better than the first half of the season. That's for sure. It's not saying much, but we got a serviceable episode versus, oh, okay, we're walking into this episode and know exactly what's about to happen. There's no questions, no nothing. It's just figuring out which team goes to the slaughtering block. Here, there's at least a chance of something occurring.
Mm-hmm. It would have been delightful if that did happen, but unfortunately, here we are. So we're going into this episode with just losing Katie and Veronica. I love you, Katie, and I love you, Veronica. Thank you so much for being here. I love you both. But we just lost Katie and Veronica. Veronica has been driving a lot of the strategy this season, so it's really interesting to see how the game will shake out after Veronica is what I would say if there was any game that really got played after Veronica exited.
Yeah, I mean, even at the end of last episode, we already knew basically what was going to happen for the remainder of basically this episode, because there's 2 options. Either Nani and Turbo don't win the challenge and TJ says, you are going home, which would be weird. Or Adam and Steve and Nani and Turbo don't win the challenge and they go into elimination, because that's every single team's plan and it's the only plan that makes sense to them. Like, I mean, everyone kind of just like is accepting the strategy at this point.
Yeah, and I will say it was kind of unfortunate going into this episode knowing that, because it made this challenge a little bit less climactic than I think they wanted it to be. The challenge is called Pressure Sandwich. But before we get into Pressure Sandwich, we did have a couple of cute little moments beforehand. First, we got to see an appearance by Cadence, Davon's daughter. More reality episode appearances, the Matt from Big Brother 26. Thank you, Cadence. Or some of the internet refer to him as Crazy Eyes. So we get to see Davon talking to her daughter. It's very lovely. I'm also appreciating some Davon content. We have been besmirched from the lack of Davon content on this season. I need like 30,000 more Davon confessionals, because some of the absolute best moments in the history of the challenge in terms of the confessional have been things like Chuck, run, Chuck, leave, Chuck, go, damn. And it's just Davon doing Davon in the confessional booth. Anytime you get Davon a confessional, it's entertaining. So more Davon stuff, please. But yeah, it was really nice. It was really sweet. We also see Melissa and Nicole flirting more than they have been for the entire season.
And then Nicole brings Mel in to see her girlfriend. This was the most total whiplash of like challenge hookup, but kind of in front of your actual girlfriend. What the fuck?
This is just a throuple. This is what we're seeing right here. This is the beginning of the formation of a throuple. I love you, Melissa. I like you a little bit, Nicole. I support your decisions. As long as you and Amy are all, as long as you two and Amy are all happy, that is all that matters at the end of the day. Yeah, so we go into our challenge. It's called Pressure Sandwich. And dear Lordy, if they did not look at the Survivor playbook and just rip a challenge straight out of Survivor.
Yeah.
So, for those of you who are familiar with Micronesia, Philippines, I think that's the only 2 times this challenge has been ran as the final challenge on Survivor. I could be wrong.
You're definitely not wrong, but this type of challenge has been run so many times.
Yeah. So you get 2 things, okay? And you put them between something. You got to hold it together, and they're like squishy cylindrical blocks, right? You got to hold these blocks together in between these 2 points, which in this case are the 2 members of the team. And they have to walk the blocks through a little course, and the woods, to a little station where they grab 2 more blocks. Because there are more blocks, it's easier for the things to fall. And then you have to go all the way to get 10 blocks, which I heard that and I'm like, wow, that's excessive. And then you have to get to this little spot where you could drop all your things, and now the little thingies become your puzzle pieces to assemble a vertical puzzle that kind of resembled one of those, like, it kind of looked like a toilet plunger a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, it's just a bunch of, even Adam references it, like, hey, if you don't think this is difficult, literally do this with 10 toilet paper rolls at home. And it was basically just 10 toilet paper rolls being stacked onto each other.
Mm-hmm.
So, this is basically the closest we're ever going to get to a mini final this season, for some reason, but I'm not mad at it. Like, it's a simple challenge, but it requires a lot of communication, and this late into the game, you really should have that.
Well, one thing is, I am happy we did not get a mini final, because I think that would spoil the actual final even more than it already is. And, like, quite frankly, I don't need to see that on this cast. Excuse me. But the other thing, mentioning communication, some of the teams, namely Frank and Sam, are working like a well-oiled machine. Frank is directing traffic. Sam is the pivot point. They're going. Melissa and Nicole aren't really talking much, but when they do, it's not really focused. They don't care. They know they made the final. They don't have to worry about anything. Nani and Turbo are communicating pretty well. Adam and Steve are communicating pretty well. And then you have Shane and Davon. Yeah. You heard that sneeze in the background? Yeah, that's exactly what they did for like the first half of this challenge. They choked and they dropped their blocks. Like, I hate being that person. Like, really, really hate being that person. But Shane?
Mess.
Davon is doing her best to keep this like level and civil. And then Shane's just like yelling at Davon and like telling her what to do and trying to get her to do things. And Day's being respectful and trying to explain to Shane why she's not doing what Shane is asking. Also, Shane is like down on the ground, squatting with this piece, like this close to the floor. And if they touch it, they have to go back to the last checkpoint. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, Shane, what are you doing? And then we get the Adam moment of this segment, which was very funny. Go ahead, Jack.
Just Adam being like, yeah, so this is a pain in the ass. If you don't find this difficult, just stack a bunch of toilet paper pieces together. But also, we get Adam like looking over and basically being like, Shane is just berating Davon, like beyond reason. And I mean, we even see it a little bit later. Shane doesn't even really realize he's doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Like it is. He gets locked in to a point where he basically just goes red.
Yeah, it was kind of hard to watch. I'm not gonna lie. Steve is like, no, Steve, was it Steve or was it Adam? I think it was Adam. Adam's like in confessional. He's just yelling at Davon. He's being really disrespectful at this point. Like, I don't understand how you don't have this communication. And again, Davon is doing her best, right, to try to communicate with Shane. Shane in confessional is like, Davon and I, when we get angry, we funnel it verbally. So I get mad, and then Davon gets mad, and then we're both getting mad, and we're just kind of feeding into each other. No, that is not what happened here whatsoever, Shane. You got frustrated. Davon tried to be respectful and civil, and then this is what occurred. Now, granted, it wasn't like an embarrassingly bad performance or anything. They actually got to the end before Melissa and Nicole did. Shane was just not acting respectable, to be honest. Frank and Sam, however, are destroying this. They don't drop their blocks a single time. It's incredibly impressive. I'm not going to lie. The puzzle was relatively simple, and since they got there first, the winners of this challenge are Frank and Sam, who have officially locked up a spot in the final. Call this one going in. I'm just, no shade, right? But you look at some of the caliber of some of the teams that are on this season. Teams like Devin and Leroy, and like Adam and Steve, and Nani and Turbo, and Amber and Fessy. Like, you just see a lot of these teams, and on a surface level, you see Frank and Sam there, and you're like, oh, well, I feel bad for them. I don't think they're going to do particularly well. Shut me the hell up. Congratulations on the final, y'all.
Yeah.
I'm really happy to see it. I think this is one of those moments that reminds me of why I like Challenge All-Stars so much, is because we get to see these old school players come back and show, in Frank's case, that he still has that strategic game, and in Sam's case, represent, for one, the plus-size players. First plus-size player to make the final in a minute outside of Anissa. But secondly, Sam didn't get carried to that final. Sam put in a lot of work. Both of the dailies that they won, Sam was largely responsible for a lot of it. And they did super well in a lot of the other dailies. So congratulations, you two. I'm really happy for you.
Yeah, I mean, just for reference, the only other teams that have won 2 challenges in the season are Amber and Fessy and Adam and Steve. Like, these are arguably some of the stronger teams on the season, and Frank and Sam stack up really well, even though people completely almost like doubted Sam's ability and Frank's game like so early on. So I genuinely can't say anything other than like this is incredible.
Yeah, I'm really happy for him. So congrats to Frank and Sam. But before we get that little moment with TJ talking to all the teams, and they're on that little staircase, and Shane and Davon are in the back row, and Adam being Adam, Shane is like a little wobbly, but not really wobbly, and Adam goes to like keep him from falling, allegedly, and Shane goes off. Shane's like starts yelling at Davon, starts yelling at Adam. And Adam's like, goes immediately, he's like, you are not going to be disrespectful to me or to Davon. And just goes. I have never seen this before in my life. Shane walked away. From Shane, I was stunned.
He was never going to win an argument against Adam. Straight up, Adam was talking to him like his kid pissed him off.
Okay, but when has that ever stopped Shane before? I'm just saying.
It hasn't. And that's the impressive part. Like,
that's on growth. I mean, like, we're going to talk about how in this situation, based on the edit we saw, Shane was in the wrong. Okay, full disclosure. But I will say, Shane took himself out of that situation. And even when they were trying to get Shane to come back to wrap up the section, he's like, no, I need time to cool down. I need to cool off. So Shane didn't even come back when they announced that Frank and Sam had won the challenge. So it was really interesting to see this because Davon like looked like she was keeping it together pretty okay, but was a little bit emotional about it, which, if you've seen Davon in an argument after the cooldown before, that's pretty normal Davon there. Well, especially if she wasn't even really involved in the arguing here. She kind of just kept her mouth shut. But yeah, so we go back to the house and it's a little bit of scrambling from Naughty and Turbo. It's like, there's the possibility they won't even put us in elimination. We'll just get sent home. I'm like, why would they do that?
Yeah, that's a massive effort at this point.
Well, like, also, Frank and Sam aren't going to send themselves in, right? And let's say they put in Adam and Steve against, like, let's say Davon and Shane, right? Davon and Shane lose. Adam and Steve win. And then there's a possibility you just get the star because you're the only team left that could get the star. Like, why would they not send you in?
It quite literally just doesn't make any sense for Nani and Turbo not to be put into elimination. No one really wants them in the final because they all know that Nani and Turbo are a threat.
Yeah. It was really interesting to see this like moment of like Nani not strategizing properly because like Turbo, I kind of expect it sometimes, honestly. But Nani just, I was like, Nani, what are you talking about? You should be fine. Yes, they're going to risk the opportunity of you going home. Yeah, you're going in. You're fine. Adam and Steve, though, they don't think they're going in at all. They think it's going to be Shane and Davon because of how Shane's been acting and how Frank and Shane have had this back and forth all season. They said Frank and Sam promised us we're not going to go in. They're not going to write our names down. I'm sitting here like, y'all, you're fools if you think that's the truth.
Yeah, I mean, Shane would have to really piss off Frank. And Frank and Sam are also extremely logical. They're not gonna look at the final and be like, oh, we could run against both Nani and Turbo and Adam and Steve. Sign me up. No, they're gonna get rid of one of you at this point.
Yeah.
Depends on who.
Well, and especially because Frank's talked about it. He's like, look, I don't know if we can win, but I want to give myself the best opportunity I possibly can. And that means I got to get some of these stronger teams out before they make it to the final. In what world are they not putting you and Steve in if Nani and Turbo are the house vote? Which, spoiler alert, Nani and Turbo are the house vote. Not even remotely difficult for them to get the house vote here. Everyone votes for them. Like, it was pretty simple, not gonna lie. Yeah. Probably the most boring house vote we've had all season, to be honest with you.
I'm honestly surprised why when Nani and Turbo just said we're volunteering to go in, why the vote wasn't just stopped there. Like, we had it stop for both when Adam and Steve nominated themselves and when Melissa and Nicole nominated themselves. So, like, why did we have an extended segment here of everyone voting for them? It just didn't make any sense.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not mad at it. It was just one of those, like, we probably don't have enough content to fill this episode kind of moments. So there we go. Importantly, though, we do get a scene with Shane and Devon kind of resolving the issue here of Shane explaining why he acts the way he acts and why Devon feels some type of way and why they both feel some type of way about the situation. Specifically, though, we do get a situation earlier where Devon, I believe she was talking to Steve, said, "My partner thinks it's a good idea to be a villain on a reality show," and Shane is completely within earshot. Here's to say that, and then they have another argument. So I'm hoping as a loyal member of the church that we can get a Devon Challenge Championship in this final. Don't have high hopes, but I'm hoping that something could happen here because I really think it could.
It definitely could. And I mean, we even get a moment of them literally just talking with each other and being like, we know we piss each other off. We're just going to have a straight up code word for if you are going to be infuriated, the other person can say this word to remind you of this exact conversation and what we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, we'll see if that works at all. My guess is that it doesn't. Devon says it anyway, and Shane doesn't give a fuck.
You know, I'm going to hope that you're wrong because I really, really, really want to see the two of them because this entire season, I'm going to be real, most of these rival pairs solved their crap super fast, right? Really, the only teams that have had any struggle are Nani and Turbo because of Couchgate, right? And even then, that was very brief, and they patched their stuff up pretty quick after that, too. Nani and Turbo, obviously Beth and John A., and Kellyanne and Sylvia. Those three teams never really fully got back on the same page. And even then, Kellyanne and Sylvia kind of had it worked out by the time they went home. I need Shane and Devon to close this chapter together, right? Now, will it culminate in a win? I don't know. But I'm hoping that the two of them can find a way to resolve this in a way that's, one, satisfying for the both of them, where they both feel like content with the situation, but they also have some money. Some coin would be nice. I hope that this works out for them. But yeah, we go to the jungle, like pretty much directly after the house vote. There's like nothing in between for once. You know, we didn't hear Frank and Sam say who they were going to throw in, but we knew as fans, we knew who it was going to be. And the only people that are shocked are Steve and Adam.
Yeah, I mean, Steve and Adam are like, oh, okay, Frank betrayed us. And everyone else goes, yeah, no fucking shit. What? No.
Yeah.
Like, huh? But, I mean, yeah, no, this was absolutely the best outcome for the other three teams. Not only do all three of them make the final, realistically, if they could, they probably should have had Katie and Veronica still there, but they didn't give themselves that opportunity for some reason. Whatever.
Yeah. So we then go to the actual jungle competition between Steve and Adam and Donnie and Turbo. It's called Star Bluff. I hated this. I hated every single thing about the second half of this challenge. The first half was fine. I think it needs to be tweaked in the future, but I'm irritated with how this played out. So quick summation at home for the folks. The challenge is very simple. They have two bamboo poles, and they have these big exercise balls a la Mariana Conti, and they have to put these bamboo poles to like carry these balls across the jungle to a little crate. And the first team to move all their yoga balls across wins the jungle. Seems pretty simple. It's basically what they just did in the challenge, only a little bit harder, but whatever. Which is my biggest problem with it.
Strange. Yeah, no. Of all times to bring this challenge out now, when you just have data that's nearly similar.
I think you switch this jungle with the scratch off jungle that Amber and Fessy did with Nani and Turbo, and I think that's more cohesive because at least the scratch off jungle was bad, but like at least it was something, and also you don't have three puzzles back to back to back.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we hear this, I'm like, okay, cool, and then we find out why this jungle is called Star Bluff. If you've ever watched that one carrot game from that one British show,
the 8 out of 10 cats countdown,
yeah,
carrot in a box. It is literally that.
Literally carrot in a box. So one team has a box in front of them. They either do or do not have a star. They can look at their box, and there you go. The other team then has 2 minutes to talk and like ask them questions and whatever. And then after that 2 minutes, they decide if they want to keep their box or swap it. And afterwards, whatever team has a star, if you get it correct, you win that round, and you don't have to move one of the yoga balls. One of the yoga balls is moved for you. So by the end of this competition, with all these bluffs and stuff, Steve and Adam have a 1-ball advantage. And that could have been huge in this competition.
It definitely could have been. This was also the most safe outcome because just imagine if one round goes differently for Steve and Adam winning. They have 3 balls in. There was almost no need to run this challenge. They automatically win. So this is I want to say, other than basically I Can and those style of eliminations, we don't actually have any social like bluffing kind of eliminations beyond people using strategies of like 2 people are going to work together to screw one person.
Yeah.
Like
specifically, I'm thinking of the tri-way tug of war with
yes.
Shane, Nelson, and who was the other person? I forget. Besides the point, the 3 of them worked something out each with Nelson, and the Nelson screwed them both. Yes, I recall. So we end up getting some really funny moments with Shane, Steve and Adam, like making jokes with Nani and Turbo. Like, and Nani says, it really pisses me off because this is supposed to be a really serious, like, deep challenge, but they're making me laugh, and it makes me mad. And I'm like, this is the
fair.
Energy. This is the energy we need. But yeah, so we get through the Star Bluff section. I'll be honest, it was kind of uneventful, kind of boring to watch.
It definitely was. I think if it ended up being 4-1 or 5-0, it would have been a lot more entertaining of like one team getting 2 or 3 right in a row and the other team going, oh shit, like we're in a bad spot now, and getting more panicky over this game. But both teams kind of just score points back to back to back to back to back, and it's just like, oh, okay, cool. We just had like a fun little comedy moment, and Adam and Steve get a small advantage. Whatever.
And that's kind of, now I will say that's not really the instrumental part of this jungle.
Yes.
What ends up happening is pretty simple. Nani and Turbo can't figure out how to pick up this yoga ball with a stick at the beginning. Adam and Steve get it almost immediately. And tell me if you've heard this story 5 times this season, 4 other times this season. Adam and Steve with the jungle send home Nani and Turbo, which also included Adam and Steve carrying their last yoga ball across. Nani and Turbo had 3 left. Turbo just looks, throws his stick. He knows he's not winning. And Nani's like, pick up your stick, Turbo. Pick it up. And I'm like, why does it matter? Y'all ain't winning.
mean, even then, like, Nani and Turbo try and catch up this whole challenge, and they end up picking up a ball, and it rolls the wrong way. they managed to pick up a ball and throw it over their cage.
Yeah, it was very entertaining, I must admit.
It was very entertaining, but it was like, okay, which team can communicate better? Great, that team wins.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, again, Adam and Steve, I believe, if I am correct, have the most elimination wins with the least amount of eligible eliminations this season in the history of the challenge. So we had 9 episodes with an elimination, right? They competed and won in 5 of them, right? They were ineligible in 2 of the other episodes because they had already had a star and they won the challenge, so there was no way for them to go in. So in the situations where Adam and Steve were eligible to go in and did not go in, that only happened twice, meaning that they have a 5 out of 7 elimination record and then a 5 out of 5 winning ratio. In other words, dear God, why did you not send them in last week? You're fools. Also, Melissa, steal their star. Melissa Nicole, what are you doing? What are you doing?
I mean, they literally have, in 8 of 10 episodes this season, they won a challenge. Like, that is an insane record because I'm considering even like the first round, the first episode,
challenge.
They were first place again. Like, even when 4 teams won, they were still the top team. And I mean, even then, like the skyscraper challenge, they were this close.
I think they would have won that challenge if literally Amber was not one of the most flexible human beings I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah.
Because like if Fessy was with literally anyone else, Fessy and Amber do not win that challenge. Well, that acknowledged. But yeah, so we do lose Nani and Turbo here. It was pretty much what we figured would happen going into this week. It's unfortunate because I do think that they were more entertaining on this season than some other people, namely Nicole, namely Shane. I'll even say Steve. Sorry, Steve. Because the only memorable thing I can remember Steve doing is going upside down on that little cart in the episode last week. So, R.I.P. Steve. But Nani and Turbo are out at 5th. Nani once again falling just short right before the final. I'm sorry, Nani. Try number 20.
Yeah, it's bad at this point. It's really bad.
How many seasons has Nani competed on? Is it 19?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Unless I am missing some. No, it doesn't look like she never competed on any spin-offs besides All Stars, right?
I feel like she should. I feel like you're correct.
So yeah, she made the final in Free Agents, and then the previous 3 flagships she played, she made the final in Double Agents, Spies, Lies, and Allies, and Ride or Dies. But yeah, no, she gets cut before the final with a man who has basically cut her before a final. So, ow, like this. It does suck to see this because Nani genuinely essentially walked into a situation where it was like, yeah, no, I'm going into elimination now or next episode, no matter what. There's basically no chance for me to do anything. And my partner is a really good challenge player, but sucks socially and sucks at communicating on a season about communication.
I'll say for Nani here, I think the biggest problem that they had was that they didn't win the politicking game this time around. Frank and Veronica won the politicking game. And I think had they been able to flip that vote several weeks ago when Ember and Fessy went home, things could have been different. But unfortunately, we do lose Nani and Turbo here, which means we officially have our finalists. So your first team running the final is, can we get a drum roll, please, for excitement? Thank you. Sam and Frank, like we already talked about.
Yay!
Yay, Sam and do we have a hold on, let me check the background music. Do we have a We don't. That's unfortunate. I was seeing if we had like a drum roll on the music. We don't. We need to fix that. Note to Logan, we need to fix that. Okay, the second team running your final is Adam and Steve.
Yay! Like, no one is surprised by this. Like, literally, these two guys have dominated the past couple seasons and got screwed independently and, I mean, kind of by each other. So this is not surprising at all.
And then third team running the final is Nicole and Melissa. Yay, Melissa.
Yay. This is interesting. I'm not going to lie.
And the final team running the final is, for the first time in challenge history, Dave Vaughn and Shane.
And Shane is there because he has to be.
I do believe, I could be wrong. I know this is Shane's first final. I know this is Dave Vaughn's first final. I do believe they are the only two people in this final. This is people that made it to the final here. That this is their first final. I'm not certain about Adam because I know Sam and Frank are both champions. I know that Nicole and Melissa have both run a final. I know Steve ran.
Yes.
Before. Has Adam run a final?
Adam has not only run a final, but he won the gauntlet.
Oh, he did win Gauntlet. Oh my god. Gauntlet is so long ago. I feel so old.
God, yeah, so
years ago. Beside the point, Shane and Devon, this is both of their first finals, so we're going to see how they do in a final situation. I got big ups to my girl Devon. I know she's got that endurance with her inhaler. She's going to kick some butt. And I'm hoping that Shane will be able to live up to all of these years of waiting to make it to a final, because he finally has a shot at one. So yeah, Jack, before we go into a lovely little draft update, if you had to call it right now, who is coming in fourth in this final?
I mean, I feel like there's a very obvious option. I feel like it has to be Nicole and Melissa. I mean, they've been strong throughout a good part of this season, but like compared to Devon and Shane, if they can communicate properly, and Frank and Sam, if Sam is good, I mean, I can easily see Nicole and Melissa just getting screwed by the wayside here.
Mm-hmm. I'm inclined to agree. I wish it wasn't Nicole and Melissa. Low key, and maybe this is just me, I would love the shock of Adam and Steve coming in fourth. I think that would be freaking hilarious. Not that I want that, I just think it would be funny. But I think it's going to be Melissa and Nicole, unfortunately. I just don't know how well the two of them are going to be able to stack up in a final. Now, granted, it's been a minute since Sam has run a final, although we've been underestimating Sam the entire season. So do that at your own peril here, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
But if I had to call it right now, winning the season, I'm going to go with Steve and Adam. I feel like I'm not an idiot. Not an idiot. I want to be wrong. I want to be clear. Please let me be wrong because I want Devon to win a challenge season.
I am also there with you. However, in my opinion, Adam and Steve almost roll this entire cast in any physical things. And we've already seen just from like flyovers, it seems like the eliminations that were played this season are somewhat involved in checkpoints. And who has played in 5 eliminations?
Don't say played. Don't say played.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Who's won 5 eliminations?
They are also the only team here to have won more than 1 elimination.
Yes.
And even then, there's a massive asterisk here because out of the 4 teams here, the only other team who has even been in elimination was Melissa and Nicole.
Against Katie and Veronica.
And that was a close jungle. It was the best jungle of the season. Thank you to both of those teams. But before we go, it's time for our draft update. AKA Brooke wins the draft and there's nothing Lana can do about it.
Yeah, no, Lana, I'm so sorry. You are screwed.
I mean, sometimes you have it. And right now, based on this and our Drag Race draft, I'm thriving in drafts right now. And there's also a real shot that I win the Australian Survivor draft too.
Oh,
so,
yeah. No,
like,
you've done really, really well this entire reality TV cycle.
I have Miles and AJ.
And if you don't know what that all means, well, you have a lot of time to catch up before the finale of Australian Survivor, and it's worth it.
Yeah, and if you don't have the time or the resources to go find those episodes, just watch our recaps right here on the Cup TV. Beside the point, though, we are down to 4 teams in this final, and I have possession of 3 of them. Lana's only team left is Frank and Sam, who I will point out was the last overall draft pick. So, congratulations for defying expectations.
I mean, we literally see in the preview Davon and Shane having issues, Melissa and Nicole having issues, Frank in full tears because his partner is probably having an issue. We don't see any of Adam and Steve. And that's because there's nothing interesting about them likely sweeping a fucking finale.
I don't want it, though. I have no problems with Adam and Steve as players, as people, or any of that. It just, when the outcome you expect to happen happens, it doesn't make for good TV. I guarantee you, the producers, when they saw that Devin and Leroy couldn't do a thing about it, Nani and Turbo couldn't do a thing about it, Amber and Fessy couldn't do a thing about it. When you see all of these really strong teams go home and you're in a final with Melissa and Nicole, who I'm going to be shocked if they make it through this final, given Nicole's history of getting injured in the first part of finals. I'm just saying.
Oh, my God.
Shane and Davon, I'm sorry, it's happened twice. It's enough to make a pattern here. Shane and Davon, who have both never even ran a final before, and Frank and Sam, who, granted, they are both challenge champions, but both of them are past their physical primes. Right? No shade. Well, to be fair, so are Steve and Adam, but like also, have you seen Steve's biceps?
Politely, Steve and Adam are not past their primes. If they are past their primes, genuinely, what were their primes? Because both Adam and Steve have done incredibly well on like the past All-Star season they were on. I mean, Steve literally lost the final by seconds. So I do really feel like this is an open and shut case, and we're just going to be waiting to see who gets second, third, fourth.
I hope personally that we see a win for Shane and Devon. I think it would just be really satisfying for me for both of us, really, but I'm going to speak for myself here. As huge members of the Church of Devon, as huge fans of Devon, we have never gotten this close. Well, we did on the go, but other than that, we have never gotten this close to Devon bringing it home. She got cut right before the final in War of the Worlds 2. Was it War of the Worlds 1? It was War of the Worlds 1. She got cut right before the final in War of the Worlds. So this is the closest we've seen her get. Through the 3 seasons of Big Brother, 3 seasons of The Challenge, The GOAT, Candy Crush, everything else that Devon has touched. I want her to get this win more than anything. And if she does not win, Traitor Season 4. That is all I ask.
I mean, at this point, like, I genuinely don't know what we can do for Devon in order to get her to a win, because every single time something stupid comes up. Like, it's been consistent.
Normally we keep this to the Ringside channel because it hasn't really had a reason to pop up yet. But it's a Brooke rant, y'all. Congratulations, we're here.
Oh my God.
It's a Brooke rant. So being where we are at this point, I just really want to remind everyone about how often Davon Rogers has been screwed on reality television. Because there have been times where she got sent home and it was entirely her fault. Big Brother 17 comes to mind. I would also like to posit Big Brother 18 is her fault. I will give her that. I think all 3 times she has been on the challenge and she has went home, it has not been her fault. The reason she went home on her first season of the challenge, which I believe was Vendettas, was because Jose couldn't keep his mouth shut. And because they were the least connected team in the entire cast.
Yes.
The reason she went home on World of Worlds 2 was
Well,
because
Final Reckoning, but yes.
Final Reckoning. They're a trilogy and they all have the same theme, Jack. What do you want from me?
I don't know.
The reason she lost World of Worlds was because of a stupid purge that involves swimming, which is her like one major area of weakness on reality television. So screw that. The reason she lost Big Brother All-Stars is because of a stupid pre-made alliance made by Derek effing Vassar, who was too big of a coward to get in the house himself. And the reason she lost Candy Crush is because Paul doesn't know how to control the crane. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I will correct you there that it wasn't because Derek didn't know how to get in the house. It's because Nicole ratted him out for no fucking reason.
Thank you, Rat Cole. Appreciate you. But then, and the reason she lost the goat was because she just, I don't even want to talk about it. The goat makes me upset. I don't even think about it.
The goat just makes me sad.
She earned that win. But beside the point, she's going to earn this one too. And church members, pray for your girl.
We're just going to, it's going to happen. It's going to happen and she's going to win. And that's going to be the end of it. Going to be the fucking end of it. But
yeah, so church service part 1 is next week, everybody. Church service part 1. We're gonna see who's gonna come out ahead in this final. We do assume it's going to be aired over 2 weeks, so you may not see us again for 2 weeks because we might just talk about the whole final at once. We'll keep y'all posted. But before we head out of here, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure. Make sure to buy that merch included but not limited to your cup mug at laundrycreations.etsy.com. That link is in the description down below. Domestically and international shipping are both available. There are no excuses unless you don't want to pay the dumb American tariffs. Then, of course, that is a valid excuse, and I respect you for that take. Additionally, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We are trying to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and it would really appreciate it. For the channel's growth, if you would press that button because you made it this far, you had to like listen to me, hearing me and Jack talk to some degree. And finally, all of our audio podcast links and our links to our other channels are down below in the description. So make sure to check us out there. All of our socials are coming across this ticker right here. And yeah, I think I hit everything that time.
No, I think you did.
All right. So thank you guys so much for joining us, but we're going to have to head out. So cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Cheers.